In the middle of a war zone, where things are really tough and not so good, something surprising and heartwarming happened. A regular soldier, Sergeant John Miller, was in a small, damaged city near a village in South Sudan. And in this difficult situation, he had an encounter that would completely change his life. While he was doing his usual patrol in the troubled area, Sergeant John Miller saw something that was not expected at all. A weak and hungry baby lion hiding in the tall grass. The cries of the little lion were so sad and loud, even with all the noise from the war. At first, Sergeant Miller was surprised and didn't know what to do. Even though it's usually very dangerous to get close to a young lion, Sergeant John Miller decided to go closer and check things out. The baby lion looked so skinny and sick, making Sergeant Miller think about his own old cat, Joji, that he had back home. Worried about the lion's health, he carefully looked around to make sure there were no other dangers and then picked up the little lion with his hands. So Sergeant John Miller made a quick decision to take care of the lion and named her Suda, which means lucky in Arabic. Even though his fellow soldiers were worried about this choice, Sergeant Miller was determined to make sure Suda stayed healthy. Living in a war zone was tough, there wasn't much food, and there was always the danger of an attack. But Sergeant John Miller stayed strong in his promise to protect Suda. As they faced the challenges of looking after a wild animal in a place damaged by war, Sergeant John Miller worked really hard. He got Suda medical help, found food wherever he could, and even made a cozy place for the lion to feel safe. Over time, Suda changed from a weak cub to a lively young lion, all thanks to Sergeant Miller's caring. Surprisingly, the other soldiers, who were unsure about this unusual friendship at first, started to like Suda too. Some of them played with her and even brought food for her when they came back from their patrols. Suda got used to living around humans and showed how amazing the connection between different species can be, especially when things are tough. But then, something really sad happened. Sergeant John Miller had to go to a different place, and he couldn't take Suda with him. This made both the soldier and the lion very sad because they had become really close and always looked out for each other. Sergeant John Miller tried to ask if he could bring Suda with him or find a safe place for her, but it didn't work out. It was a very emotional goodbye, with tears, because everyone could see how much they meant to each other. Even though he had to leave, Sergeant John Miller always kept memories of Suda in his heart. Sadly, the soldiers later heard that Sergeant John Miller had passed away. This made everyone at the camp, including Suda, feel really sad. Suda could sense that something was wrong, and she started to keep to herself. She didn't rely on the soldiers for food anymore and learned to find her own by hunting. In a really touching turn of events, a person arrived at the camp with a letter from Sergeant Thompson's wife, Irene. She talked about how much her husband liked Suda in all the letters he sent. Irene really wanted to make sure her husband's wish came true, so she got permission to visit the camp. All the soldiers gathered and listened as the person read out what was written in the letter. Sergeant Thompson's friends brought a truck to take Suda, making it possible for Irene to meet the lioness. The meeting was emotional, like both Suda and Irene knew they were connected to the man who had left them for a short time. Suda, realizing Thompson's smell on Irene, happily licked her face. The soldiers shared stories about their time with Thompson, talking about how much he cared for Suda and wanted her to have a happy home with friends like her. Irene, feeling really moved, found out about her husband's wish for Suda to be with her own kind and have a family. Irene decided to tell their story on the internet. Then, a place called Bandung Gilo National Park said they would take Suda and let her be with other lions. Irene was very happy about this and went with Suda every step of the way. At the park, Suda got a fresh start, a chance to feel better after going through a tough time. For Irene, it was really comforting to know that her husband's friend, Suda, had a new and happy life. This ending, even though it's a bit sad and happy at the same time, shows how special the connection between a soldier and a wild lion can be. It proves that even in really hard times, the bond between humans and animals can be strong. Suda's journey from a war zone to a safe place shows how we can stay strong, find hope, and be kind even in difficult situations.